Hello everyone, I'm Brazen Eagle and thank you for joining me here. So today, we have a couple articles from Fox News and Breitbart about the Portland events that happened today, August 17th, 2019, and yes, we're currently looking at my channel at the current moment. But, before I go into those articles, I do want to update you on an earlier video that I did do. So, a few days back, I reported that some mother was suing a all-male German cathedral choir for not allowing her daughter to join. Apparently now, the girl, or really the mother lost the case against the all-male choir, and at the current moment, this specific choir can stay male only. Now, I normally assume things that won't work out in our favor, as some of you might have been able to tell from my video when I did destroying another male-only space. But at least for the current moment, men maybe have one space that has not yet been completely infiltrated by females. So this was just a small little update from DW World, or DW.com. Anyways, on to the show. So, we'll just begin with Fox News. Portland police declare civil disturbance amid clashes after far-right, far-left rallies, at least 13 arrested. Let's see. Police in Portland, Oregon declared a civil disturbance Saturday evening as members of far-right groups and far-left members of Antifa continued to skirmish hours after conducting dueling demonstrations in the city center. Just after 4:30 p.m., Portland Police Bureau spokeswoman Lieutenant Tina Jones said that anyone gathered near the intersection of Southwest Park Avenue and Southwest Morrison Street must now leave the area immediately. Jones added that the number of demonstrators was dwindling to about 400 people from a peak around 1,200. Authorities said at least 13 people were arrested, but did not immediately release further details. Earlier in the day, police tweeted images of weapons it had seized from multiple groups, including bear spray, shields, metals, and wooden poles. Police said one injured person was taken to a local hospital, but no further information about the victim was released. 5 others had been evaluated by Portland fire medics. All the injuries were considered to be minor. Another individual was treated for medical condition unrelated to the demonstrations, Jones said. Jones also further said that there had been limited interactions between individuals and called witnesses to submit information about potential criminal activity to the police. Flag-waving members of the Proud Boys and the Three Percenters militia group began gathering late in the morning, some wearing body armor and helmets. Well, when you're going to see Antifa, you might as well be armed. Meanwhile, black-clad, helmet, and mask-wearing Antifa members were also among the several hundred people on the streets. The groups gathered on both sides of the Willamette River, which runs through the city. Authorities used sound trucks and loudspeakers to remind demonstrators of both sides to stay out of the streets or they would be arrested. They also set up concrete barriers and closed streets and bridges in an effort to contain and separate the rival groups. And I guess this was a shield they used, some sort of bear spray, and some sort of sticks in this picture or this tweet down here. Roughly 700 law enforcement officials from local, state, and federal agencies, including the FBI, were in the city for the right-wing rally, which was expected to draw people from across the country. Portland police said all of the city's 1,000 officers would be on duty for the gathering that was hyped on social media and elsewhere for weeks. Not all who gathered Saturday were with right-wing groups or Antifa. Also in hand were people dressed in colorful outfits, and those who attended a nearby prayer service holding signs that had slogans such as "No Trump, No NRA," so basically just Antifa light. Police formed a physical barricade beneath the Morrison Bridge in Tom McCall Waterfront Park to separate the rival groups from sparring. The Proud Boys and their supporters were on the south side of the divide, while the counter-protesters remained on the north side, according to the reports by the Oregonian. KPTV and the Oregonian reported that some of the demonstrators began to leave in the early afternoon, with authorities briefly reopening the Hawthorne Bridge to allow them to pass. Police used officers on bikes and in riot gear to prevent Antifa from following them. The Oregonian reported that a group of left-wing demonstrators attacked a bus carrying a group of Proud Boys out of downtown Portland, breaking some windows, which I'll show you in a little bit. The Proud Boys contacted the units on the ground, saying that they wanted to leave, and so we facilitated for them to leave the area. Multnomah County Sheriff's Office Sergeant Brandon White told the newspaper, "It wasn't planned, it wasn't orchestrated. We had a request that they would like to leave the area, and so we facilitated." Later in the afternoon, the Oregonian also reported that a group of left-wing counter-demonstrators had surrounded 2 people wearing American flag-themed clothing and were taunting, threatening, and chasing them. Among those attending the demonstration was Patriot Prayers Joey Gibson, who organized similar rallies in 2017 and 2018 that erupted in clashes. Gibson surrendered Friday on an arrest warrant for felony rioting, but was released on bail hours later. "I'm just here for the ride," he said. All right. Organizer Joe Biggs told the paper that the demonstrators wanted national attention, and we got it. Go look at President Trump's Twitter. Biggs said he talked about Portland. He said he's watching Antifa. That's all we wanted. Mission success. President Trump tweeted Saturday morning that he's considering designating Antifa a domestic terror group. Major considerations are being given to naming Antifa an organization of terror. Trump said Portland is being watched very closely. Hopefully the mayor will able to do his job properly. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler implored Biggs to think about the millions of dollars in taxpayer money used to provide resources and security to major protests, he said in a press conference Saturday. Why does he care about money? All he does is want to tax, the log farmers or the foresters in the more natural parts of the state. Wheeler also said that Biggs' rhetoric stokes an environment of fear nationally. "We do not want him here in my city, period," Wheeler said. Wheeler's message was similar to his warning to protesters on both sides prior to demonstrations. "We don't want your hatred, we don't want your violence, but you do want Antifa's violence. But if you come here, we're going to be prepared," he said in an interview on Fox News Outnumbered Overtime on Friday. "Again, when it comes to enforcement of our community standards, there's double standards. We support the people's rights to demonstrate, but we don't care about who you are or your politics are." Well, that's a lie, he said. "If you engage in violence in the city, you will be held accountable," which is another lie by Ted Wheeler. Anyways, so, I don't know, I messed a couple words up there, but the words in this case don't matter as much as the meaning behind them. So, the Portland police declared a civil disturbance on Saturday evening, or really more Saturday late afternoon, and basically said that people need to leave a selected area. 13 people were arrested, and some weapons, not guns, were confiscated from some people. A person was sent to the hospital, which I'll bring up in the Breitbart article, and the authorities used some sound trucks and loudspeakers against everyone. It sounds like the police, at least attempted to separate both groups as best as they could. Now, it's very interesting to see that the Proud Boys actually contacted the police and asked to leave. They were being very, sounds like they were being respectful to the police. The police responded and basically let them out and followed them as they were leaving. Now, apparently the organizer, Joe Biggs, wanted to get more attention for this event and even had the president closely watching what happened in Portland. Now President Trump says he is considering calling Antifa an organization of terror, but who knows what'll happen. It's President Trump. You never know what the guy might do. It's also very interesting to see that what the corrupt mayor of Portland even said near the bottom of this article here. Ted Wheeler, the mayor, wanted the organizer to think how much it's going to cost for security, despite letting Antifa to get away with most of their violence. Ted Wheeler even says he doesn't want hatred or violence, despite him literally having a history of letting Antifa get away with violence in the past. Even now, he states that if you engage in violence in the city, you will be held accountable. In the Breitbart article, I'll show you how hypocritical this mayor actually is. Realistically, to be honest with you, if the right-wing protesters were left alone, the need for security would most likely be greatly diminished. They just want to do their prayer or protest or something like that in peace. It's always Antifa that shows up to ruin the party. But anyways, that mostly sums up the Fox News article, but time for Breitbart and a little bit more involvement, we'll say, from whoever wrote this, Hannah Blue. So, Anarchy and Chaos, Violent Antifa Protests Break Out in Portland from Breitbart. Published August 17th, 2019. Violent Antifa protests are breaking out in Portland, Oregon, following the pre-planned end of domestic terrorism event taking place in the city. City officials have been preparing for the potential of dueling clashes with the police force at the ready and additional agencies on standby, according to journalist and editor of Quillette Andingo, who warned that Saturday's events had the potential to be a powder keg, things already taking a violent turn. One of Ngo's videos shows protesters attacking a bus, appearing to attempt to pull people out of the vehicle. I will let you know right now that I have my audio muted, so if you want to watch this for yourself, I have all of these links to these articles in the description below. But before we begin watching the video, I do want to say Andy Ngo is doing a great job, just because I know he won't ever watch my videos, but actually filming this when he himself could get attacked again, I think is really great. But anyways, just let's watch how peaceful Antifa really, truly is. Yeah, I'll mute that for now. Look how peaceful they are. Just, you know, destroying some buses. Some fat kid trying to hit the side of the bus and falling down. Very nice, very nice. Very peaceful, very peaceful. Let's see, this will probably play audio as well. And it takes a while because... Oh, my apologies for that. And, yes, look at this. Very much peace. Look at all this peace. Look at all those fists going in the air. Trying to attack people trying to get on the bus. Nothing says peace and tranquility like attacking people who are trying to get on a stupid bus. Now, I know the quality isn't great, but like I said, you can watch this for yourself with the link I have in the description below. So, and yes, kicks. Kicking is always very peaceful, and breaking the windows or the shadowed windows on a bus is very peaceful. Yeah, very nice. Very good job. Nothing says peaceful like Antifa. And wearing masks. But that's, honestly, to be frank with you guys, this Antifa right-wing protest, whatever you want to call it, these events seemed fairly tame to what normally goes on. I mean, another video shows a man who was allegedly maced and beaten by Antifa assailants. He was knocked unconscious to the ground. His partner or spouse was trying to protect him as mobs still surrounded them. No police, which is down here, which I'm not going to play for you. Not much really goes on. You can just see the guy's knocked out. And eventually he gets back up and just kind of wanders his way away from the mob. But apparently as well, some police officers did arrest an individual who was threatening people as well as the police. And yet Antifa and Antifa supporters said that this was police bias, which it wasn't. And then there's just more on this page that you can watch. There's not really too much that goes on here, but it's just very interesting to see what went down in Portland. But like I said, what happened in Portland seemed fairly tame to what normally goes on. I was expecting a lot more violence, maybe even someone dying. But, you know, pretty normal, I guess, for the dying city of Portland, Oregon. So, either way, this single event doesn't look like it'll help accelerate the decline of our civilization, at least too much at the moment. I do apologize if the audio was a little bit too loud for you guys. Can't do anything about that now, but until tomorrow, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'm Brazen Eagle, and I hope you have a great day.